Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's time to get this show back on the road, I suppose. It's time, in fact, for another summation examination. Well, at least hopefully. I hope the judge isn't going to be like, nah, fuck you. You don't get shit. I have considered the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's right to this procedure. Oh, thank goodness. Because things weren't looking too hot for us last time. I mean, there's all this brouhaha over books and who it belonged to and windows, Gyarados, and all kinds of shit. But ultimately, we didn't have much conclusive on our side, so we need to take advantage of this opportunity, I'd say. Counsel, we will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman. Hey, it's Mr. Fairplay to you, sir. We are, my lord. Yeah. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and precisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. Guilty. Alright, what do you fuckers gotta say this time? The accuser left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to the crime if this window was closed, can it? Oh dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening even with a direct hit. Bro, it was on fire. What do you set your husband on fire? Would you feel bad about that? If you set your husband ablaze? Jeez. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. That's not really relevant to the fucking situation. Juror number 6. Get your shit together. Yes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. Well, except for juror number 6. He a bitch. With one notable exception, of course. Juror number 6, right? My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. That means, I'm afraid, that during this summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. Yeah, this scenario we've been working on, it doesn't seem to have legs. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you need provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And here I was thinking it might be hard. Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise this really will be where the trial ends. And your life. Ugh, no pressure then. Jesus fucking Christ. I guess I'll just do my job and fucking point out contradictions. Apparently that's what I'm fucking good for in this society. Well, that's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel. Oh, yeah, my lord. Alright, Ryunosuke. Focus your mind now. Slap that fucking face. Yeah, hit him with a fucking double slap. Clearly, the key to the summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say, Mrs. Gyarados. We have a book that disappeared from the Gyarados' house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. Yes, that's what we have to find. Yeah, clearly, using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garadeb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Well, I might as well start. I should probably press everything just to be on the safe side. Besides, that's normally what I do anyway. Hit him with that rebuttal.
Hold it!
Again, why would you just leave the books behind anyway? I mentioned this last time, but like, if he was some trained stabber guy, you would think he wouldn't just be like, oh shit, better drop these books. It'll be super cool to leave evidence of my crimes, like I'm the Riddler. But as we now know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's what I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said? That's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is that the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only lives out in the Benice fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's a done deal, isn't it? You look me in the eye when you talk to me sometime, Bruce? Like, jeez. Always looking off to the side like a little bitch. I suppose it is, since I've nothing witty left to say. Yeah, I suppose it's hard to you know, to argue that exactly.
Hold it!
So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. Also pretty racist. But I guess those things go hand in hand at times. That's great. Like, I'm proud of you. I'm thrilled to hear that. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see? Modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? What, by fucking, Oh wait, I can do the thing where okay, I know this is like the thing where you pit people by contradictions, but you can also like examine what they're thinking as well when other people say other things. I didn't know. Was that something you could do with the jurors before? I'm not sure. And not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly, pal. Oh, but us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. Yeah, just find my bro MatPat. He's come up with new theories all the time. I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you admitted rational there. Haha. Got him. Nice.
Hold it!
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know how the window was open or closed. Like, would it really be? Was it? I mean, it wasn't open when we were there, and it wasn't broken, so I'm not sure how we're going to prove that. But what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Wonders in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? Yeah, it just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. Then what's the point in even having windows? Oh, yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck windows, fuck society, fuck all this, I'm out. But how counsel. You will kindly refrain from childish bickering. Fuck window. Oh, sorry. Somehow, I need to show that there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. I mean, he seems relatively reasonable, I'll give him that. Compared to juror number 2, he seems like a nice enough guy.
Hold it!
Yeah. But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Oh, well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yeah. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Garrett. Oh, never you mind that. The point is, we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. Steve, stop hitting your fellow juror. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it has anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Right. Well, we'll see about that. But what about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Mrs. Garrett's relentless onslaughts. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is.
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? Immense future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some Reddits with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames, tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. Jeez, no wonder he's used to his wife, or the juror next to him slapping him around. A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, you know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember. Sorry. It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out. What the? Jesus, what the fuck? Are you in an abusive relationship too, man? Jeez. What's with all these toxic relationships? I wonder if Mr. Beach will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Mrs. Otto. There must be some way to jog his memory about this. I don't know. I'm like, I have evidence for that.
Hold it!
What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, exactly. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry. What's that? You'll have to speak up, lad. Can you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on the top, it did. What a sight it was to behold. Oh, so I guess you're 75 years old. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously. It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, I guess, you know, cultural practices will seem strange to people who aren't familiar with that culture. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Jeez, man, is your home okay? Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. But, how did you get the cold from a fire? Fires are pretty hot, so, like, what's that about? Oh, what a fiasco it was! Oh, the grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in hospital for a while. Oh, I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. But something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason. It's quite silly, that's for sure. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he or she could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. Geez, you could say that about a lot of people in the fucking society, in general. You know what I mean? We live in a society, fellas, am I right? I think you're going to need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yes. I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions. Just a connection might do the trick. All right. I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit. I mean, none of them reacted to anything that any of them said, so not exactly sure where to go from here. But that thing about windows and the old man and his windows. Oh, hey. Aha. Now that's a curious little morsel of detail. He actually changed his statement, so I'm gonna hit him with a double press. To see if Mr. Garadeb, or Mrs. Garadeb says anything about that. Oh, well, yes. It was one of my most memorable birthdays, you see. I couldn't let it go unremembered. I'm sure the defendant will be delighted that you're using his trial to explore your past. Yeah, you fucking can tell him. And how is that memory related to this case exactly? Sorry? What's that? You'll have to speak up, I'm afraid. Never mind. He's as deaf as a post. When he wants to be. But actually, this old man's anecdote might just provide the alternative explanation I need to make my point to some of the other jurors. Well, we used unlit candles on my birthday this year. It's safer that way. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, Mrs. Garadeb didn't react like I thought she would, so, okay, maybe I should review some of the other statements. Maybe this guy? Wait, no, fuck, that's not the button I wanted to press. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, we talked about this, Pit, that's what I wanted to do. I'm gonna try and pit these together?
Objection!
See how that goes? These two juror statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Oh, don't point at me again! I told ya, it wasn't me! What's that you say? Speak up, lad, speak up! Juror number 3, do you see... Me? See what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Oh, well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from the fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh, fuck! Exactly. Also, yeah, I was right. Thank goodness. I was not 100% sure about that one. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household. And Mr. Garadeb had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh my.
Whoa, look at that. She's drinking tea really fast huh. That's an interesting animation. Oh my. Wait, but I'm still in the middle of this contradiction. Is that really... What do I do?
Excuse me.
Okay, hold that thought. I'll get back to you in a second, juror number 3. Juror number 4. Do you have something to say about that? Mrs. Garadeb. Oh, dearie me. What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. Man, that was like a double objection, or a double, I don't know, contradiction thing. Because I was inside that one dude's, point making when I reacted to her making a thing. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon? What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window. Which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire. Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nurse to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You've managed to establish that the window was open. We simply must have that added to Mrs. Garadeb's formal statement. Now you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I'd clean forgotten, but it's true. Well, I'm still in the middle of pressing you, so I don't know. Let's work you over a little bit. I don't know. At the point where the victim was attacked on Briar Road, we know that there was a small house fire in the Garadeb household on the opposite side of the street. Well, yes, it certainly seems that way. And on account of the smoke, I imagine they would have had the windows wide open in spite of the cold. We also know that Mrs. Garadeb was throwing flaming books at her husband. Her husband, who was backed into a corner by the window due to his wife's frenzy attack. Well, yes, that's right. So there's definitely a chance that one of the books could have flown past the man and out of the window. Only what? Only I can't really see how it could have gone all the way over to the other side of the road, that's all. Ah. So I don't really see how I can change my decision, really. Oh, I see. That wasn't enough? What is it going to take to persuade these fuckers? I don't know, maybe she just got a good throwing arm. Did you ever think about that?
Hold it!
Okay, now let's get a little more information about this. The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrideb told us he had been reading. I mean, yeah. Oh, well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw out your husband a copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on. As well, you know. I really don't. I barely know. Good look. Jesus, what's that pose you're doing? I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it. Right. Totally understandable. I mean, you can't waste your time deciding what to use next, can you? When you feel it the way I did, you don't care what it is. You just want to smash it into his face. You see where violence can lead, Mrs. Otto? I'm disheartened to think you might believe me capable of such behavior. Anyway, I have a feeling I might have noticed someone reacting a little strangely to Mrs. Garrideb's remarks just now. Ah, perhaps I missed something while I was, preoccupied. Yeah, I guess I'll have to see what, yeah. We can do that again, sorry.
Oh boy.
Okay, you good, jury number 5? What is it, jury number 5? You know something? I remembered what it was. Memory I blocked out. Ah, it was listening to this, what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back. Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Garrideb, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, like. I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard half of it, boy. Oh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost a day's wages, love. The next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck into the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep. Jesus Christ. Okay, fucking husbands be getting shit apparently in London. Christ. No words. Just terror. I could smell it then, you know. That god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was gonna end up face down in the muddy banks that night. I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. You're trust me, Mrs. Otto, you're cool. You're nice. I mean, comparatively, throwing me around like a volleyball is like pretty tame compared to having knives and shit thrown at you. Throwing household objects at people is what's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. Yeah, fucking. Yeah, shoot a fucking bow at him. That'll teach him. What? Attack? Who are you going to attack, Cesaro? Do you have issues with bloodlust, Cesaro? Oh, never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright. We'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later. If I dare. Yeah, honestly. A woman in a rage will hurl almost anything at you. The kitchen knife really brought that home to me. Curious indeed. Well, let's just press this real quick. Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? Because honestly, I want to hear a little bit more about this domestic situation. That's right. She was chopping meat with it. Had a tiny edge on it, believe me. Oh wait, I didn't even do the right voice. I'm sorry. Still, it's all memories, isn't it? It started with that smile she threw me when we were courting. And since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. Geez, it's like the central theme of this case that wives are bad. Like, it's kind of silly and maybe a little messed up, but also very silly, so honestly that's kind of par and parcel with Ace Attorney. There was a cup, then a glass, then a pot, a kettle, a chair, a wardrobe, a cooker, a bathtub. What? A bathtub? Your wife must be even beefier than you. Things came to a head last week when she threw me right into the Thames. Jesus Christ, are you okay? Yeah. No, okay, well, I thought you were just kind of an asshole before, but okay, I can understand your insistence that you get your daily pay so that your wife doesn't just murder you. Still, she's not so bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. I'm so happy for you. If you want to know what I think this whole idea of ladies first that we're so obsessed with in this country was thought of by some clever lads who'd been tossed in the Thames a few too many times by their wives. That's a very interesting theory. What a terrible thought. On the face of it, this juror's statement just sounds like a really extreme anecdote. But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept an alternative explanation here. Okay, yeah, I get it, pal. I just wanted to get a little more information, you know what I mean? But now, yeah, we pit these two people together. These two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. Women be crazy, though. Good grief. You mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed at the back. What are you talking about? Seriously, what that pose he's doing? That can't be comfortable. We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garrideb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrideb household to the street below. What's that now? After all, Miss Garrideb could have... I gotta not remember my pronouns. Mrs. Garrideb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. As title, actually, but, you know. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that, ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What was it? I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain that at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Well, alright, Mr. Foreman. I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garrideb household to the scene of the crime was... I mean, it has to be the knife, right? Because, I mean, what else was it going to be, right? Like, that whole anecdote about that dude's wife throwing a knife at him, I feel like it was pretty obviously making a connection to this knife, which was found in the victim's back. So, yeah.
Take that!
The jackknife. number 4. Mrs. Garadeb. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before? Good Lord, Counsel. What are you doing? What on earth are you doing? That's a weapon that was launched into the victim's back, man. Yeah, I know, man. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garadeb was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had backed up against the window. A window that had been opened to clear the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that. The book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Huh? Even my missus hasn't got a name like that. Yes, I admit, there are many details we don't yet understand. That's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my! Mrs. Garadeb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? You could have seen. Oh shit, she's dead. We killed her. We threw the knife at her, and you know, yeah. My lord, I wish to change my decision. You know, you could just say no. I've never seen that knife before, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing on that knife. I looked at it before, and there's nothing that indicates it belongs to the Garadebs. But oh well. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but, I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman. I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny didn't mind. Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now, ladies and gents. Well, clearly. Also, what the? Okay, well, if Mrs. Garadeb is responsible, or has some role into what's happening here, somehow I don't think she's gonna vote not guilty about Natsume. We did it! Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo! So, as a result of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. 2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided, and this trial will continue. Yeah, we're not gonna have like an ununanimous guilty verdict, if Mrs. Garadeb is still there. You know what I mean? Yeah, that seems like a problem. But anyway, now then, Lord Van Zykes, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? Yeah, what the fuck have you been doing this whole time, pal? This trial is rapidly descending into a farce! Yeah, bro, you should have... I mean, I guess the summation examinations, the prosecutor's not allowed to say anything, but, like, it also makes you look pretty weak, because you just sit there and let me fucking, run for, like, 20 minutes without even saying a word. Yeah, drink that wine, you fucking piece of shit. Get crunk. Like a corked wine. The first few sips are bitter enough. What follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zykes, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourself better with the relative positions of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? it should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Gerardem household runs a rather wide street, a briar road. Which means that the distance from the Gerardem's house to the scene is some, 15 yards. Let me see, 15 yards, that's around 14 meters, or about, 45 feet. But wait, yeah, 45 feet. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I'd imagined. Bro, NFL quarterbacks throw for way farther than fucking 15 yards. You know, they can, like, chuck it, like, you know, to some 40, 50 yards. Clearly, Mrs. Gerardem has a really strong throwing arm, you know? If this weren't, you know, Victorian-era England, and, you know, she could try out for the fucking Patriots. With that aim and that accuracy? Throwing it right into the victim's hand like that? And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book wantonly held by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumbs. Yeah, again, like a quarterback. Quarterbacks throw footballs directly into the wide receiver's hands. That's like their job. So clearly, Mrs. Gerardem was just making a really accurate pass. Because Olive, or Green, I believe is her name, clearly she wanted the book, and she didn't want her husband to have it anymore, so she passed it to Olive Green, and then she threw a knife at her. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it, pal. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? Okay, well, that's a little different because the victim, you know, like throwing someone into somebody's hand is tricky, but like a back is like a pretty wide surface compared to a hand. So really, if she could throw it into the hand, it's fairly easy to assume that she could throw it into someone's back. This fantasy is something somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic, serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Oh! Serialized detective stories? Is he referencing, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes? There's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Mrs. Otto, serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here? My lord, might I be allowed to speak? As original assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes? Go ahead. The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leading. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. Yeah, I mean, do you have any evidence that that couldn't have happened? Again, like 15 yards is a pretty hefty distance, but like she was up on the 3rd floor. Like when you have that, that vertical trajectory, it's easier to throw things farther. Because, you know, it has to fall for a certain distance as well, you know? Yeah. To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Gerardem, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Prince alive! A cross-examination of a juror? Yeah, again, if she is responsible for this incident, clearly we're not going to get an ununanimous guilty verdict or not guilty verdict. So I feel like we need to kind of reassess that situation. Order! 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 Well, this is hardly irregular. It is unprecedented for the member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
Oh wow, man! You just did that. You just lifted that with your your 2 fingers. Like you grabbed the bottle, the hilt, and just flicked it backwards, like some multiple feet distance, just with your 2 fingers. Are you sure you didn't throw the fucking knife into the victim's back, Barack Stupid Face? I wonder. And unnecessary. Broadband's likes. There are already witnesses in the stand, whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend farcical theory has any truth to it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume that they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses? What say you? Oh, yeah, you guys are still here. I kind of forgot. Yes, sir. Constable Roller Bait reporting for duty, sir. Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month. Account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they are so heroic, these London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rowley, my hero, you make me swoon. Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir. Have you, like, so I guess you finally woke up from your nap? Oh, this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Scaradab. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Scaradab's house are top hinge casements. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Well, you seem more energetic. Well, this is quite startling. Top hinged casement windows? What the fuck does that mean? That detail was not in the police report, Constable. Yes, sorry about that. I, must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir. Sorry, but, what exactly is a top hinge casement window? Thanks for asking me, Inosuke, because I don't know what a top hinge casement window is either. And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course. Sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Scaradab's room. Alright, I'll try. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Oh. Huh. But as it's a top hinge casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see. I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stair, a metal bar, which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. It prevents its opening. This is all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. No. You see the problem then? Good. Your education in Windows is complete. Yeah, that's actually kind of bad because, yeah, I didn't know the window did that. Hell, I didn't even know Windows could do that. Like, the fact that it didn't open, I just assumed it, like, opened all the way, you know? Like, opened up completely. Like, that means, like, not only, if she threw it, that means she would have had to, like, fucking, finger roll it into that little hole, you know? And that, it does seem less likely than what I had assumed. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. Well, Barack. Can I call you Barrick? How the fuck did the book get into the victim's hand then? If we acknowledge that she threw the book out, so clearly it did leave the premises, how did Olive Green, our victim, get the book in her hands in the first place? And why? Why did you get a random book? That's what I want to know. You explain that shit to me, Barrick! That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already. That can't be! Oh, did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh, it was such sweet, good fun. I love watching people suffer. Oh, yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw how it crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, he's so strong. Okay, you don't take pleasure. You don't have to take. Okay, you're nice people, but don't take pleasure in my misery. Okay, I don't take kindly to that. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed. Counsel, if you can drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation. I love those. They make me very happy. Okay, well. That's about all I can do for today. Once again, making some progress. I thought we would kind of, you know, maybe not wrap things up, but I hoped that we're getting somewhere with the whole Garrett throw a knife at lady thing. But that Barack, he just, well, he kind of made me look like a dum-dum, and frankly, I don't appreciate that. But either way, I'm sure these two lovely people have, you know, have more secrets to unravel. So I'm sure we will deal with that in the next episode. But until then,